Okay, well, thank you so much for having me here virtually. I wish I could be with you in Poland, but I can feel the energy already. Um, I wanted to talk about social sustainability and inclusive design. And the title of the talk is really what's on my Instagram, which is Human First, Design a Second. I think that is an incredibly important emphasis. We're all designers, we're all creators, but we're also all human beings. I am an active designer, and on screen you will see a picture of me conducting research with a lady in the wheelchair called Fiona. That is not a gun that I'm holding in my hand. That is a video camera. We're gently encouraging Fiona to give us insights. The college I come from, the Royal College of Art, graduates have global influence. You know, I don't know how many people own a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, or a Toyota, a Ford, a Kia, or have heard of Dyson or British Airways, but our graduates are everywhere. I don't know how many of you have heard of Apple. That's a trick question there. But the company Apple employ more of our graduates than anyone else, any other graduates from any other university. The Helen Hamlyn Center, which I run, is one of the longest running centers at the college, dedicated purely to inclusive design. And we've done over 200 projects with 300 organizations. Bottom center, you will see Terminal 5 at Heathrow, where we were involved in the wayfinding. I always say, if you like the wayfinding, we did it. If you don't like it, they executed it badly. There is a problem with design, and it's how it is seen. So I can prove it to you. So how many of you have a smartphone? Again, that's another trick question. But if you pull your smartphone out and you type in the word designer into any SMS or WhatsApp application, this is what comes up as the predictive icon. It's sort of French people from the 1940s holding a paintbrush. But designers are more than simply artists or aesthetic, characters. We framework, we strategize, we make every conversation better. I honestly believe design won't save the world, but it certainly will contribute to making it better. It's a very, very powerful tool. And design is for people of all ages, genders, needs, abilities, geographies. And this diversity often isn't taken into context or consideration by many designers, creators, companies, organizations, and governments today. We say design is centered around people. Rearranging the words, people-centered design. The other word we use is inclusive design. And all that is this. It's defined as including the needs of the widest number of people in your design. The UK government don't always get everything right, but they got this right in the year 2000 when they defined it. But inclusive design speaks to social sustainability. There's 3 typically accepted pillars of sustainability. The most famous one is environmental. Then the next is economic. And we have massive amount of work to do in both of those areas. The missing one, the often unconsidered one is social sustainability. And who says this? Well, the World Bank and the World Economic Forum. They talk about social cohesion, social sustainability being the glue that holds society and the economy together. And social sustainability is needed to support and partner and enable environmental sustainability. Persuade people and you persuade process. Inclusive design, very simply put, is design at its most powerful and conscious. Before 2020, we all believed a wonderful nonsense. You know, we were a bit like the peacock on the left of the screen looking good. And now we need to be like the chicken on the right of the screen, doing good. And I love the fact that she has strapped rockets to her back and is taking first aid somewhere. You know, sometimes inclusive design is messy. Sometimes actually doing something positive is messy. So now is a time that we need inclusive design for people of all ages, genders, races, cultures. 2020 with pandemic and protest has brought this radically into view, and designers play a role. I'm going to briefly walk you through 15 principles in the next 14, 15 minutes or so. Number one is bring humanity into technology. Often as designers, we fall into the app trap. We'll try and solve everything with an app, but we need humanity here. I'm going to talk to you about a project we did humanizing chatbots. This was a major management and accounting consultancy, one of the top 4 in the world, who were designing a chatbot. You know, everyone wants a chatbot, but it's like the Wild West out there. And they all typically look like this, slightly sort of subservient 25-year-old females without any hair, because hair is quite difficult to model in a computer setting. And I sort of believe they look like this because they're designed by 25-year-old coders who are typically men who just design themselves a girlfriend. But if we look at gender distribution in artificial intelligence, we can see that we're being discriminatory. In the center of the screen, the blue line, most assistants are female. On the right, the brown line, most AI movie roles are male. Is this discrimination digitally that we wouldn't be allowed to do in the physical world? We looked at what a chatbot should have, and it was empathy, wiseness, sincerity, curiosity, all with a little touch of happiness. Instead of a kind of subservient character, we said, what if it was a parent or a gentle authority figure, a boss, a direct authority figure, a friend who supports you, or a coach? And the company, through our inclusive design, co-design process, picked friend, but the friend that they picked was different. It wasn't the same age or gender or color as them. It was these two, Dame Judi Dench and David Attenborough, people who could help you. They could help you at the end of the day, cover up if you made a mistake, encourage you to have a glass of wine. So this was the humanity in the technology. Number two, whatever you design, make it useful. Work with real people. You know, and here on screen, you see some of our designers out there doing design. On the right is a colleague of mine, Chris. He's talking to our youngest ever participant, the little boy in blue. This was a project for Samsung where we told them two things. You know, they were getting spanked by Apple 13, 14 years ago. And we said, stop talking about technology, start talking about experience. Start talking about people. Stop designing products and start designing experiences. So work with real people, go out and see what the challenges, the needs, but importantly, the aspirations are. Don't work with fake people. These are just the first couple of images I pulled off Google when you type in the word persona. And what you notice about all of them is they're all smiling. They're all grinning like idiots. So if you see too much teeth in a presentation, walk away. There's 7.6 billion people on the planet. Find a real person to talk to. Do not make a fake one up who will always like what you've done. Real people challenge your design and make it better. So I want to talk about one of our most challenging case studies, and this deals with suicide. So I apologize if this affects anyone on this call. This was in the city of Derry, Londonderry, around the city, the River Foyle, which divides Northern Ireland and Ireland. And it's about community AI in the city. If you're having a bad day, people say, I'm ready for the foil, I'm ready to jump in. And there's over 3,000 incidences of suicide logged in the last 3 years in a city of 100,000 people. We came up with a number of social and cultural interventions, and I'll just take you through two. The first is called Foil Bubbles, and this looked at creating little movable architectural pods. You're not allowed to build anything on the riverside, but these could be wheeled in. Anyone can occupy them as long as they take mental health training. So any shopkeeper, student group, community group, as long as you take mental health training to be able to support anyone in crisis, people are more likely to talk to a stranger than the police or the hospital. And this is how they might work. So, you know, they sit there, they're enabled with AI, so they could tell a tourist where to get a pint of Guinness. And I'm told these are Americans by the length of this guy's socks. And it will tell you, you know, get a pint of Guinness. There's a little bar up there on the street to your right. If people are misbehaving, as these two are, it will say to them, wise up, you know, you're on camera. But most importantly, if someone is on crisis on the river, the city itself, the architecture and the buildings can reach out and ask that all-important question, are you okay? And in early trials, this is seen to be very powerful and positive. I'm just going to show one more thing here called Foil Reeds. And this is based around this bridge. This is the place that most people go to jump or consider jumping. It's about 9 floors high. So it's the height of a 9-floor building. This is the walkway. It's about waist height. So it feels very dangerous up there. Instead of putting a barbed wire fence, we wanted to look at how we could engage the community. We went out and talked to people. So don't design from a distance, actually go out and smell the air, see the context. We took inspiration from the fauna, the plants, and we created this, which are kind of 9-foot, 10-foot reeds, which also act as lighting. This is what they would look like. They would be digitally enabled, so they could be themed or owned by the community. And they turn this place where people go to end life into a place where people can go to celebrate life. So this is very much the social sustainability of inclusive design. The next couple of points are quicker. Just make every conversation better. Whatever you do, use design to make it better. Here are a couple of quick fire projects. This was done with Arthritis Research UK. Can you peel a carrot one-handed if you have arthritis? The answer is yes. If you fix the board to the counter using a rubber mat, and then you just have a special attachment, and you can peel the carrot just by running it over the top of it like this. Can color change a person's life? We do a lot of work in care homes. We were told that some people weren't eating. It turned out that they weren't giving up on life. They just couldn't see the food. Put white food on a blue plate and people see it. And some residents gained 20% of their body weight back in the first month. Can you create a care home bed that rivals a first-class aircraft cabin? Yes, you can. Here is one we did for Hong Kong. And do look at our website if you want to learn more. Driverless vehicles. Another massive area. Actually get people involved, get them to design, create their own aspirations, get them to test out your vehicle, to live with it, to work with it, to move in it. And you realize people do many things in vehicles apart from just travel. Here are a couple of fun examples for you designers out there. Redefining the sports car. What if a sports car was a car you did sports in rather than a sporty car, so you could swim your way to work? What if Uber was banned in a lot of cities? Could they send you a toilet instead? So I love this one. It's called the Uberloo, because when you've got to go, you've got to go. So you could just call up a toilet. Number 4, hero the project, not the designer. The next generation, this generation of designers, I'm incredibly proud of. From Canada to China, people are not wanting to hero themselves, they hero the project. This is one of the most inspirational photographs for me. It is of a Japanese CEO from 30 years ago. His name is Sadamura-san. He was redesigning a whole metro system in the city of Fukushima, and he went out and did the research himself. So you're never too important, too busy to go out and actually work with people. This is a key part of inclusive design. And this is what he created. One of the most beautiful, one of the most comfortable tram systems in the world. Number 5, we're nearly there. Show leadership. We have this term born of inclusive design and the need for social sustainability called creative leadership. And this is because we need creatives in leadership position, but we need leaders who are creative. It's based on 3 principles. You need empathy, you need clarity, and you need creativity. And I'm just going to walk through that a little bit. Empathy, which can equal love. This little poem explains why, why you need empathy as opposed to power. And the poem is this: power said to the world, "You are mine," and she imprisoned him on her throne. Love said to the world, "I am yours," and she gave him the freedom of her house. So be free with your designs, be open. And CEOs who are inclusive, leading with emotion and empathy are more likely to succeed in creating lasting change. And we see that across the world in global leadership. Clarity and communication, what film is this? It's a 3-hour movie, and here are 4 icons. And yes, of course, it's Titanic. Creativity. We were redesigning the ambulance and they asked us, can you restock the ambulance in 5 minutes instead of 45? It takes 45 minutes to open every cupboard in an ambulance, and we just got rid of the cupboards, created 5 treatment packs. At the end of the shift, you take those 5 packs out, put 5 new packs in, you've restocked the ambulance in 5 minutes. And this is just to say empathy is a spectrum. You could be the Godfather or you could be the Dalai Lama. Clarity is a spectrum. There's a lack of clarity around Brexit, but I love on the right of the screen, the Nike slogan, "Just do it." It's very direct. Creativity is also a spectrum. The Eye of Sauron on the left just created evil and did that in the same way. But on the right, any museum or art gallery is full of creativity. It's important, though, as designers that you launch your boat. This is an Instagram feed that I have where I write some inspirational stuff, but it struck me that even small boats make big ripples, but you need to launch your boat on the water. You need to start. So just to wrap up, these are the 5 principles. I will be putting them on LinkedIn afterwards. And, final few slides. It's the great philosopher Denzel Washington said, you pray for the rain, you've got to deal with the mud too. So this stuff isn't easy. It isn't just about nourishing rain. You've got to have some grit. You've got to be able to walk through mud. Mike Tyson said, every boxer has a plan until they get punched in the head. So you've got to be able to rethink and replan. And final few slides, just leaving you with some top tips. Let your creative self shine and bring balance into the work you do. And this is what we also consider design, is looking at self-empathy and self-creativity and self-clarity. Go beyond Post-it notes. This isn't just design. Get out there and actually talk to people. Design experiences, not products, spaces, services, or systems. It's about experience. And design for people, not users or consumers. Users use, consumers consume, but people live. Don't design from a distance, get out there. And finally, above all, make sure your spelling is correct. This is a real menu from Hong Kong, and I realized it should say bamboo shoots, not bamboo shit. So make sure you get your spelling correct. So thank you very much. This is some links to resources on our website, and you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Please don't email me.